History loves to tell the tales of empires that rose in glory and fell in flames. But there's another kind of ending, quieter, stranger, and far more unsettling. Entire civilizations that didn't just fall, they vanished. No grand last battle, no single smoking ruin, just empty cities, silent streets, and the unanswered question, what happened to them? Today, we'll journey through 10 ancient worlds, some swallowed by the sea, some erased by climate catastrophe, and others undone by forces we're only beginning to understand. From the jungles of Mesoamerica to the deserts of the Middle East, from drowned Egyptian ports to forgotten capitals hidden beneath forest and soil, we'll uncover the newest clues, the strangest theories, and the mysteries still taunting archaeologists. Each of these civilizations left behind more than ruins. They left puzzles, clues scattered like breadcrumbs across time. And the further we follow those trails, the more we realize history's lost chapters might not be as silent as we think. The Olmec, Mesoamerica's first great mystery. Long before the Maya raised their pyramids or the Aztecs ruled their empire, there was another power shaping the blueprint for Mesoamerican civilization, the Olmec. Between roughly 1200 and 400 BC, they rose from the humid lowlands of what is now southern Mexico, building the first monumental cities in the region. They were artists, engineers, and innovators, introducing complex religious iconography, ceremonial ball games, and perhaps the first written language in the Americas. But if the Olmec are remembered for anything, it's their colossal heads, stone portraits up to 11 feet tall, each weighing as much as 50 tons. Every one of them carved from volcanic rock transported over 100 miles without the wheel, pack animals, or metal tools. They seem to stare at us across the centuries, their expressions enigmatic, their purpose debated. Were they rulers, ancestors, or something else entirely? By 400 BC, their great cities, San Lorenzo, La Venta, were abandoned. The colossal heads were toppled and buried, their culture fading into obscurity. For decades, historians assumed a catastrophic war or invasion. But the evidence tells a murkier story. Some researchers point to environmental shifts, rivers changing course, volcanic eruptions blanketing farmland in ash, or a slow silting of waterways that crippled trade and agriculture. Others see signs of internal unrest, with power structures buckling under the strain of massive labor projects. And then there's a third possibility, that the Olmec didn't truly vanish at all, but instead dissolved into the surrounding cultures, their influence quietly absorbed into the DNA of the civilizations that followed. Whatever the truth, the Olmec remain an origin point for so much that would come later, a mother culture whose disappearance is as fascinating as her legacy. But not every vanished civilization crumbled on land. Some were claimed by the sea. Thonis-Heracleion, Egypt's sunken gateway. For centuries, Thonis-Heracleion was Egypt's grand maritime gateway, a thriving port at the mouth of the Nile Delta where traders from Greece, Arabia, and the Mediterranean converged. Ancient texts speak of it in passing, describing bustling harbors and towering temples. But for more than 1,000 years, no one could even find it. That's because sometime in the 2nd century BC, the city was swallowed by the sea. Historians believe a lethal combination of natural disasters brought it down. Earthquakes loosening the ground beneath its massive stone buildings, tsunamis surging through its canals, and the slow, relentless rise of sea levels. The water one. Within a few decades, Thonis-Heracleion was gone, hidden under more than 30 feet of silt and saltwater. It stayed there for over 1,200 years, its existence half forgotten, until 2000, when underwater archaeologists scanning the seabed stumbled upon statues, columns, and entire temple complexes preserved in remarkable detail. Among the finds, colossal statues of Egyptian gods, intact ceremonial boats, and treasures hinting at a city that was both deeply Egyptian and cosmopolitan. What makes this discovery even more intriguing is that it rewrote Egypt's own history. Artifacts suggest Thonis-Heracleion may have been more important than Alexandria during certain periods, a political and economic powerhouse we had effectively erased from the map. And it leaves us with one haunting image, an entire metropolis, frozen midlife, now lying silent beneath the waves. But while Thonis-Heracleion sank into the sea, another civilization in a far-off land was washed away not by saltwater, but by floods from the sky. Or Liangzhu Culture, the flooded kingdom. In the wetlands of China's Yangtze River Delta, over 5,000 years ago, a sophisticated civilization thrived. Known as the Liangzhu Culture, they were master builders of massive earthworks, intricate jade carvings, and one of the earliest known systems of urban planning in East Asia. By around 2500 BC, Liangzhu was a center of wealth and ceremony, its artisans crafting jade discs and axes so precise that even modern tools would struggle to match them. Their city was defended by monumental walls and surrounded by canals that tamed the marshy landscape. It was a civilization with engineering genius centuries ahead of its time. And then, just a couple hundred years later, everything stopped. By 2300 BC, the Liangzhu sites were abandoned. The jade workshops fell silent. For decades, no one knew why. But recent climate research has uncovered a likely culprit: water. Not the slow, steady kind that nourishes crops, but catastrophic monsoonal floods. Sediment cores and flood deposits show that an extraordinary period of heavy rainfall, possibly linked to a powerful El Niño event, engulfed the region. The canals and levees that once sustained life instead trapped the floodwaters, drowning farmland and collapsing the food supply. It's possible the survivors scattered to higher ground, taking fragments of their culture with them. But the Liangzhu city itself sank into mud and memory, hidden until archaeologists began piecing together its story in the late 20th century. And while the rains destroyed Liangzhu, far across the ocean another ancient society faced its own battle with water. Except theirs was a drought so fierce it nearly erased them from history. Classic Maya collapse. Drought, dissent, or disappearance. Between 250 and 900 AD, the Maya transformed the jungles of Central America into a network of glittering city-states. Tikal, Calakmul, Copan, centers of astronomy, art, and political power. Then, in the late 9th century, the great southern cities were abandoned, their temples left for the jungle to reclaim. For years, scholars debated why. Some blamed constant warfare between rival kingdoms, others suspected political upheaval or disease. But recent climate research has revealed a harsh truth. A mega-drought struck the region, with rainfall dropping by as much as 70% for decades. For a society dependent on seasonal rains, this was catastrophic. Crops failed, water reserves dried up, and famine spread. As faith in divine kings crumbled, unrest and conflict likely accelerated the collapse. The Maya didn't disappear entirely. Many migrated north to the Yucatan, where new cities rose, and their descendants still live today. But the southern lowlands were left as silent reminders of how quickly a thriving world can fall. Tiwanaku, temple found, mystery deepens. High on the Bolivian plateau, near the shores of Lake Titicaca, lie the ruins of Tiwanaku, a city that once ruled the Andes centuries before the Inca. At its peak, around 500 to 1000 AD, Tiwanaku was a hub of religion, trade, and agriculture, sustained by advanced raised field farming that turned the high-altitude wetlands into fertile farmland. Then, around 1000 AD, it was suddenly abandoned. Theories range from prolonged drought to political fragmentation, but recent discoveries have reignited the mystery. In 2024, archaeologists using drones and satellite mapping uncovered the Palaspata Temple, a monumental structure long hidden beneath the soil. Positioned at the crossroads of ancient trade routes, it suggests Tiwanaku was not only a spiritual center but also a key commercial hub, blending religion with economic power. This find hints that Tiwanaku's collapse may have been even more complex than we thought, possibly involving shifts in trade, religious authority, and environmental stress all at once. What's certain is that the people left, but their monuments remain, staring silently across the Altiplano as if guarding secrets we've only just begun to uncover. But while Tiwanaku's rediscovery is rewriting history, in Peru another forgotten city is emerging, one that might challenge what we thought we knew about the America's earliest civilizations. Peñico, Peru's post-Caral successor. In the arid valleys of coastal Peru lies Caral, often called the oldest known civilization in the Americas. But just a short distance away, A new discovery is challenging that narrative. Archaeologists have uncovered the ruins of Peñico, a city that flourished between 1800 and 1500 BC, after Caral's decline but before later Andean powers took shape. Peñico wasn't just a settlement, it was a planned center of ceremony and trade. Excavations have revealed 18 major structures, including large platforms, plazas, and storerooms. Artifacts point to long-distance connections, shells from the coast, seeds from distant valleys, suggesting that Peñico was part of a thriving network that moved goods, ideas, and perhaps even religious practices across the region. Why it disappeared remains a mystery. Some researchers suspect shifting river patterns that cut off agriculture. Others think emerging rival centers may have drawn its population away. Whatever the cause, Peñico adds an entirely new chapter to the story of Andean civilization, one that archaeologists are only now beginning to read. And just as Peru is revealing lost chapters, another find on the opposite side of the world may have uncovered the birthplace of a figure who changed history forever. Lyncus, the forgotten capital of Macedonia. In the hills of what is now North Macedonia, archaeologists believe they've found the ruins of an ancient capital once thought lost forever. Lyncus, the seat of the kingdom of Lyncestis. This small but strategic realm played a quiet role in shaping the history of Greece, and may have been the birthplace of Eurydice I, grandmother of Alexander the Great. For centuries, Lyncus existed only in scattered ancient references. But in 2025, researchers using LiDAR scanning uncovered the outlines of a fortified city, walls, gates, a theater, and complex infrastructure buried beneath forest and farmland. The scale suggests a place of both political and cultural significance, linked to wider Greek and Balkan trade networks. Its disappearance is still a puzzle. Was it absorbed by the growing power of Macedon? Destroyed in conflict? Or simply abandoned as political centers shifted? Whatever the answer, the rediscovery of Lyncus offers a rare chance to connect physical ruins with the faint threads of a nearly forgotten history. And from a hidden city in the hills, our path leads to one carved into the desert rock, a place whose beauty could not save it from vanishing into legend. Nabataeans, Petra's vanished architects. Deep in the Jordanian desert lies Petra, the rose-red city, carved directly into towering sandstone cliffs. It was the masterpiece of the Nabataeans, a wealthy Arab people who rose to power by controlling caravan routes that carried incense, spices, and silk between Arabia and the Mediterranean. From the 4th century BC to the 2nd century AD, Petra flourished. Its grand facades and intricate water channels showcased both artistry and engineering genius, allowing the Nabataeans to thrive in one of the driest places on Earth. But prosperity didn't last. In 106 AD, Rome annexed the Nabataean kingdom, and the trade routes that sustained Petra began to shift towards sea-based commerce. An earthquake in 363 AD crippled its water systems, and over time, Petra's population dwindled. By the early Islamic era, it was largely deserted, its location known mainly to local Bedouin tribes. For centuries, it remained hidden from the wider world, until a Swiss explorer stumbled upon it in 1812. The Nabataeans didn't vanish overnight. They were slowly pushed to the margins by political change, shifting economies, and the relentless weight of time. Petra, once a bustling crossroads of the ancient world, became a silent city of stone, its grandeur frozen, its people gone. And with Petra's story, we come to the end of our journey, but not before asking what all these disappearances have in common, and what they say about the fate of our own civilizations. Echoes of vanished worlds. From the jungles of the Maya to the flooded ruins of Thonis-Heracleion, from the jade halls of Liangzhu to the rose-red walls of Petra, these civilizations each met their end in different ways. Some were undone by sudden disasters, floods, droughts, earthquakes. Others faded slowly, worn down by shifting trade, political upheaval, or the long hand of climate change. Yet they all share one truth. Nothing, no matter how advanced or powerful, is guaranteed to last. Their stories are reminders that civilizations are as fragile as the environments and systems that sustain them. What seems permanent can vanish within a generation. But disappearance is not the same as extinction. The Olmec live on in the cultures they inspired, the Maya in their descendants, the Nabataeans in the stones of Petra. Their cities may be silent, but their influence still shapes the world we walk through today. And that may be the greatest mystery of all. Not that these civilizations vanished, but that, in ways both obvious and hidden, they never truly left us.